This week on the podcast, they don't give us much, so when they do, make sure you take advantage of it. How to train your staff for free. Welcome to the Profit Cash Growth Podcast. This is the podcast for 6- and 7-figure business owners who are looking to grow a financially successful business. My co-host, Claire Hancock, is a finance director, chartered accountant and entrepreneur. And every week, I'll be exploring guidance and frameworks designed to help you increase your profits, improve your cash flow and grow your business. So this week, Claire, we're going to talk about convertibles. We've got a convertible, haven't we?
Yeah, we do, for some months, but it's turned out to be the longest summer ever, isn't it?
Yes. Now, I love my little convertible. It's nothing fancy or expensive, but it just gives us a little bit of that wind in your hair feeling during the summer, doesn't it? And you feel like you're like Audrey Hepburn, don't you, when you put your headscarf on and all the rest of it when you're not complaining about getting in it.
Essentially, what happens is that every time we go out, you want to go in the convertible, but
in
we
the
have
summer,
to...
not every time.
We have to have a discussion about what's happening with my hair.
Yeah.
You know, if we're going to the gym or something, fine, my hair's up. But if we're going out for dinner, if I've just washed my hair, if we're coming to record the podcast and I need good hair, then no, we can't go in the convertible.
Yeah. Well, the point in me raising this, I thought, what do you think this, before I even talk about the story, but I was thinking to myself, I don't feel like I see as many convertibles these days. And the most important, how many new cars that come out are convertibles these days? Especially now with the... I don't think there's even been an electric convertible car apart from Tesla's Roadster that was the first one they did 20 years ago or something. It's an interesting point, isn't it? Why do you think we're not making electric convertible cars?
Maybe because they're not very aerodynamic, so they're difficult to get the battery usage. I don't know.
No, I don't know. I don't actually know the answer. It's a rhetorical question, but I don't think that's the reason. I don't think there's any choice. I just think that the money's in the money is in the mid-market cars, the SUVs and whatever else in the first instance. So yeah, it's not there. And I am seeing, the reason I brought this up is I'm seeing the BYD in China are about to launch a really nice proper sports car.
Convertible.
It looks,
this is interesting. We've been
absolutely beautiful, really quite expensive as well, but really beautiful. So it got me thinking, they're now getting into that. Now they've nailed that the easy stuff, the mid-market.
What car have we been looking at getting? The Jaguar.
A Jaguar F-Pace.
Yeah, an F-Type. So
but they're
we
old,
potentially go for the BYD instead.
Well, the BYD's 120 grand, the Jaguar's 20 grand. It's quite a bit different.
Yeah, tax deductible though.
Yeah,
First year full expensing on your business profits. If
you need the 120 grand in your bank in the first place, don't you?
You don't. You just get it on a little loan, don't you? Yeah, put it through your business, get your business to buy it, and you can deduct it fully from your tax bill.
Yeah, but you've lost 120 grand down to 40 grand in the first 2 years. So you've just lost that money. It's depreciated that fast. That's how fast they depreciate.
You get that money back from HMRC essentially, don't you?
Do you though?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Anyway, back on track. Convertibles. So it's not just a feeling that I had, as it turns out, because I opened a magazine last week who was talking about advertising this new convertible that's coming out, and actually the number of new registrations for open top cars has changed quite considerably. So how far do you think it's dropped? So basically it was in 2005, so again 20 years ago, it was 109,171 convertibles registered that year. New cars.
Why are you looking at me with such a serious face when we're having the dullest conversation ever? I just don't get you sometimes. Anyway, I reckon...
Because I don't think this is dull. And you think this... I bet our listeners don't think this is that dull either.
No,
it's just fascinating.
Please tell us.
Interesting facts and things like this. I just find them fascinating when I come across them. Honestly, if you think this is dull, write into me, marketing@profitcashgrowth.com, and say, Simon, everything you talk about is dull. You need to change the structure of your podcast, and we'll listen. And
Do you know what's funny, though?
Change the structure.
Last week...
We'll go to doing your deep dives every week about cash flow and debt and stuff
Last
like
week,
that.
I said I wanted an M6 toll museum.
Well, you did.
So, we're chalk and cheese, really, aren't we? But equally
no, chalk
as
and
dull.
chalk, that is.
No, chalk and cheese are equally as dull.
Oh.
Yeah, so there was 110,000 in 2005.
110,000. How many
What do I think there is now? 60,000?
11,484.
Shut up.
I know.
A 90% drop.
Can I just say, not dull, yeah? Not dull. That's wild, isn't it?
A 90% drop in convertibles.
90% drop in new releases of convertibles.
Do you know what is always a bit of a joke in our car, though? Is
What?
There's a cup holder in the driver's seat door, and we constantly have a bin liner in there because in the winter the condensation drips on the seat and makes the seat wet.
Yeah.
And so we just constantly have a bin liner in the car. And I wonder if that is part of the issue. If you want like a soft top convertible.
Because that only happens because the car's 20 years old, Chloe. It doesn't happen because it's
not?
Convertible. No!
I don't know why I'm living like this.
Convertible, they're watertight.
No, if you get a hard top, but if you get a soft top, I bet every soft top has that issue.
No, they don't. It's the age of the car. Honestly, don't think that every convertible, they wouldn't sell them. Nobody would buy them if they...
No, because it's like having condensation on your windscreen.
No.
Everybody gets condensation on their windscreen in the winter. Your screen mists up because the car has moisture in it. It's soft top convertibles,
Honestly,
not
you're
old
mad.
and new. I'm not.
I promise it's just ours. Anyway, move on. So yeah, a 90% drop, only 11 new models on sale and down from 37 in 2005.
Wow.
That's wild. So it has genuinely become a rarity to get a convertible now. What's that all about? The other question I had, you would have seen this in the Times. They put a poll out to people. Oh no, it wasn't the Times. The Times covered the story. YouGov put a poll out to people and they asked two questions. Well, they asked one question. It was a simple question. They asked people on the street, would you rather have a guaranteed £50,000 today or a 50-50 chance of winning £1 million?
I reckon 60% of people would have taken the 50k.
Why?
Because it's higher than the average take-home pay of somebody for a year. So it seems like a lot of money. But that, to me, 50k is not that much money, actually. So I would have taken the 50-50 shot at $1 million. If they were going to be your two questions.
73% of UK adults said they would take the lump sum over flipping a coin for the £1 million, right? This is complete and utter economic insanity. That's the definition of that decision, right? This is why,
when you put them in a poll, in like a group, what did you say? 75% of people, 73.
Well, think about this.
So hang on, in a group of 100 people, 73 people didn't want to take the risk, but statistically, 50 people would win the $1 million if they did. But that's only like 25 people that would have lost out potentially. So actually I can see why people would do it. People like a guaranteed result.
Yeah. It just tells you that we have a nation of risk-averse cowards, don't we? That's the reality. Because
cowards.
Literally,
that's a strong word.
Well, that's
Simon.
what the story
Very
says.
Strong word.
We are simply a nation of risk-averse cowards. But it's true. The UK are way more risk-averse than lots of countries. That's like well documented. And this sort of you literally basically the coin flip's worth £500,000 on average. It's just madness. Do you know what's really interesting though is they put the same poll on the Times and 76% went for the $1 million. So it's a demographic issue as well.
Yeah, because they're wealthier people generally reading the Times, and therefore they can take that punt on the £1 million because 50k won't do that much to their life.
Wild, isn't it? Wild.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on to this week's news story of the week. So this week, I've got two news stories that are interlinked to Claire. The first news story was, shockingly, Santander faces legal action over 3-day office mandate. So this is the news that Santander, who bought TSB, have a different policy around where they work for Santander. So they're trying to merge it. And basically Santander have told all of TSB's 5,000 staff that a rule will apply from April 2027, so nearly a year's notice they've got to deal with this, that they will be required to work from the office 3 days a week. And the staff are taking them to tribunal over this.
Is there a question there for me, Simon?
Thoughts?
Do
you think Santander are being outrageous? Do you think they deserve to be taken to court and sued over it? Do you think what do you think Santander have done wrong in this proposal? So they've given them notice until April 2027, so this won't change until then. So they've got 9 months? 9 months to make arrangements to make that work for themselves or not, or whatever that is.
The problem is, right, when workers, I say like I'm not a worker, when employees push back on this, they generally say, I'm way more productive at home. I work through the time that I would have spent commuting. I don't take a lunch break, blah, blah, blah. I totally agree, actually. I think there are a lot of people out there that are way more productive at work. Yeah. The problem is that these people never improve because there's no opportunity to give feedback. There's no opportunity to overhear somebody else and get that, that really amazing idea of how to do something different. There's no way for their manager to see when they're struggling and just dip in to speed something up. Like none of that happen. So I don't disagree that there are huge swathes of people that actually, from a productivity of how hard are they working, they're totally capable of working full time at home. But there's way more to the workplace than just doing tasks.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen this firsthand with your own business. I mean, your guys just get better and better and better and better around you, around the environment here, around what's happening. Just
because they've got to soak it up.
They've got the interaction. They've got to soak it up. They've got, it's just a totally different world, isn't it? So,
I lose track of how many times a day, because in our office the desks are set up in little like pods of 4. How many times a day one of the team will stand up and speak to the pod and ask a question?
Yes, the rest of their peers, what they're getting from their peers as well as you. Yeah, it's everything, isn't it?
And that just wouldn't be happening. And the weird conversations that we have in the office as well to like build bonds with each other and talk, and like we play little games and we have little quizzes and stuff, and there's just way more to work than ticking off like a ticking exercise of did I do this job or not.
Interesting. So the corresponding story the same week was written a few days later, was from a lady who runs a business, and the headline was, "I banned work from home and I lost 1/3 of my staff. It was worth it."
And I agree with that.
And she basically said that they all worked from the office before. It's a interior design company, and their policy before was we all work from the studio. And she brought it back, and 1/3 of the people resigned, including one of her most senior directors, who a year later, actually wrote back to her to say that he'd been rash in his decision and totally understood where she was coming from. But categorically, she says that the quality of her business and her people and the people that they now have, having lost those 1/3, was worth every step of that decision that she made to go through the pain of losing the 1/3 of people. So it's interesting.
Do you know what? It's really interesting because I was one of those people in COVID that after we went to working from home, I was like, if I ever, and at the time I was a director, I was a very senior person in this business making the decisions and things like that. So it's interesting that I had that approach that if we enforce as a business, if we enforce back to work 5 days a week, I would have left my job.
Yeah.
And the reason was because I wasn't happy in it. Yeah,
I was just about to say that. I was going to say that the reality is that it's because you didn't like your employer and you didn't like your boss. So therefore, actually, the people that end up leaving...
That's not true.
Well, okay,
that's not true.
Whatever.
Just to put that out there.
Yeah, but you didn't like the environment. You were just not happy there.
It wasn't the right environment for me. It wasn't making me happy. There was nothing wrong there.
Yeah.
It just wasn't for me.
But the reality was that the reality is that I've lost my trail of thought completely. What was I saying? I can't remember.
I was saying about how I left because I wasn't happy, and that was the reason that I didn't want to spend 5 days a week in the office.
Yes, I was saying that the 1/3 you lose actually is just, it's like basically you've just gone through, actually the reason the lady here is obviously saying it came out as a real positive, because what she's done is she's cleansed her workforce.
Yeah.
She's basically lost all of her unengaged people anyway that she probably would have had to deal with or were probably holding down the side anyway. So actually, if you're really engaged in your work and your business and everything around you, and it's the right place, you're probably just going to get on with it anyway and enjoy it.
Do you know what? This is very apt because you're going through something similar. Not you personally, but one of your businesses, the estate agency that you're not really involved in anymore. It's not really happened.
No, we have to backtrack on it.
Yeah, exactly. So you originally, when you've taken the team on, you've kind of said, look, the office is there. You dip in and out the office as you need to, but otherwise you can work when you want. You can work when you want and you can work from where you want, as long as we maintain a good level of customer service. And some of those levels have dropped, haven't they? The team aren't doing what they're supposed to do. Conversions have dropped. Some of that's impacting financially now, but also just the general morale in the team and stuff. So the branch manager kind of read them the rule book and said, you're back in the office 5 days a week until this is fixed. And there's just been outrage, hasn't there? And to the point where you now say you've had to backtrack on it.
I wouldn't say outrage. It's just they pulled out a load of things that we should have done. They just played tit for tat with it, and it just wasn't worth the hassle. So we need to deal with that tit before we do the tat.
Yeah.
So, it's one of them. But again, it's just a sign of a disengaged workforce, isn't it? That's the reality.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it is what it is. Yes. So let's move on.
That segues very nicely into our deep dive of the
Well,
week,
it does, because there is one thing that's going to happen is that you either need to make those people better, or when they all... I need to piss off then. I can't say that, can I?
You can. Go and piss off and work somewhere else.
When they piss off.
Look, in the words of Charlie Mullins,
train your new people.
If you get on the wrong train, you get off as quickly as possible. And you're just helping those people to get off the train as quickly as possible.
All right, philosopher Claire. Let's move on to this week's deep dive. So it's not very often our government give us free handouts, Claire, but how do we train our employees for free, and why are the government keeping this hidden?
We spoke about this probably about 15, 16 months ago on the podcast, and I was overrun with very experienced business people contacting me saying I had no idea it was even a thing.
Me too.
Yes.
I had people emailing marketing and saying, I'm really just so pleased you put this episode out because I didn't even know this was a thing. I didn't know, like, this is such a, an amazing incentive,
giveaway.
An amazing giveaway, amazing amount of money, and may help my business. It's a no-brainer to do it. So it makes sense for us to touch on it again, doesn't it?
So we are talking about the apprenticeship levy and how you can access free or pretty much free, like literally a few £100 you have to pay for these courses for literally like degree level qualifications from the government. So we're going to give you a little bit of information, sort of explain how it works, what you need to do, and give you a flavour of some of the courses that you can get on the apprenticeship levy, which is essentially the government's way of trying to upskill the workforce. It's to encourage people to do more formal training, to have qualifications at the end of it. But one of the really good things about when you study through the apprenticeship levy, because we use it quite heavily in the accountancy industry, because the apprenticeship levy can be used for accountancy qualifications.
Quick question. Do you trust the numbers your accountant sends you? Or in fact, are they even sending you what you need at all? If your business turns over £1 million or more, you're already in the top 10% of UK companies. But here's the problem. Most accountants are built for the other 90%. They're built for compliance, not for businesses making big decisions on tight margins. So if you've stopped trusting your numbers enough to make confident decisions, head over to profitcashgrowth.com and book a discovery call. Let's get your business back in the room with people who actually understand it.
And one of the things that I noticed was significantly different from when I did my traditional route of accountancy outside of the apprenticeship levy is there was also all of these like practical workplace sort of style softer skills that people had to demonstrate at the same time. So you would do your accountancy studying and you would do your accountancy exams and everything like that. But alongside of that, as the employer, I had to attend these sessions with my employee where they would demonstrate what they'd learned, how they're using it in the workplace. They would have to do presentations. They would have to present, build all those communication skills. They would have to, demonstrate skills like that as well, which I actually thought was, quite darn good of the apprenticeship levy.
Darn good.
I was quite pleased with this, that it wasn't just a box ticking exercise of you've done your accountancy exams. It's you've done your accountancy exams, but how does this impact your job?
Yeah.
How do you use this in the workplace? How are you using it regularly? They have to fill out a learning log. They have to actually demonstrate that they're using it and it's making a difference.
Yeah. Good.
So, the apprenticeship levy. Basically, the apprenticeship levy is this pot of money that big businesses fund. Okay, so when you are, it's pretty much like basically over £3 million payroll, kind of like is how you kind of look at this. So it's really much bigger organisations. They pay into an apprenticeship levy. So it's essentially an additional tax. It's like an additional 0.5% on their employer's national insurance.
Yeah.
Okay. And it goes into the apprenticeship levy fund, and big businesses then can only access that fund to pay for training for their employees.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, small businesses don't have to pay the levy, but can still access the fund.
And
that is the beauty of it.
Like we don't talk enough. There's not enough of them, and the ones that they are, unfortunately, no one's really shouting about them to the right people apart from me and you, apparently. But this is like what we talk about all the time about how we want to take off Amazon, who can afford to give a bit more, to support the early stage businesses. And this is just the perfect policy. I mean, do you know who brought this policy in originally? I'd love to know under what regime.
But this is,
I'm going to find out while you're talking. But
we did an Amazon tour, and obviously the Amazon tour was actually, turns out it's all about trying to encourage people to go and work for Amazon and like bringing up that employee profile. And one of the things that they say is that any employee can study anything, and they have £3,000 a year to pay for any study that they want to do through Amazon, and it's funded through the apprenticeship levy. Because Amazon will be paying the apprenticeship levy. So, the apprenticeship levy. Historically, apprenticeships have always been seen as like school leavers or youngster people. And that's youngster people? That's not even a phrase. Younger people. But that is not the case with apprenticeship levies. There is no age limit on it. Literally any employee, anybody in your business, including the business owner, can do this. Okay, so there's no age restrictions. There are a few clarifications around the aging and what funding you do and don't get, which we'll move on to. But essentially, it's open to everybody. And also with the apprenticeship levy is, if we went back to like a couple of years, mostly this was funding these longer sort of 2-3 years professional qualifications that you would get out the other side of it. Yeah. Whereas now they've switched so that you can still get those longer qualifications funded, but you can also now do these much shorter bite-sized modular style things. So you could have somebody in your team that, you know, needs to go and just boost maybe their data and analytical skills, or go and boost their AI skills, and they can go and do these much shorter modules which start about 30 hours, which actually you can complete in a week.
Yeah, so that's the thing, isn't it? Actually, the fact that they're supporting these size pieces that people can realistically do, because the thing that's difficult about most of it is studying around work. Because most people just never do it if it's such a commitment. But if they can bite-size these things in and upskill bit by bit, that's great. Almost like Udemy style. Like, it's just dip in, do that 30-minute thing, do it each week. I think that sounds really, really good. The levy was brought in 2015 by David Cameron and George Osborne. So it was.
Two of my favourite
This sounds
people.
like a very conservative policy, and it was. I mean, they didn't do much conservative in their time, but this is definitely very much one.
So when you look at the apprenticeship levy, the easiest thing to do is literally to go to the gov.uk website and use the filters, and it just lists every single course that's available. You click on the course, and then you find the learning providers that offer it, which are like these private schools, essentially. Online providers, in-person providers, even some universities and things like that. So find the course that you want to do, and then find the provider that offers it. Okay. And in terms of how it works, the learning providers will, you know, this is like a big sales route for them. This is essentially getting sales into their business funded by the government. So from that perspective, they've got people that you can call and talk to. How does it work on the apprenticeship levy? What do I need to do? Blah, blah, blah. You don't need to do anything. So I've funded people to study chartered accountancy through the apprenticeship levy. I literally call up our local provider. BPP is the biggest one in accountancy. Say we've got a couple of students that want to go on the apprenticeship levy. They fill all the paperwork out for me. They send it to me to sign, and they request the funding from the government. We don't do anything.
Amazing.
It's so super easy.
And those organisations that are the training providers as well are also enriched from this as well, because they're just getting they're getting sales for free. Like, they don't have to create leads,
because as a small business, we couldn't afford to pay to put people through their chartered accountancy. It was, you know, it would cost up to £50,000 a year if somebody was going in person, because it's like 3 to 5 years. So it would cost upwards of £50,000. It was just completely out of our reach, but we actually can't anymore. But we could have funded that through the apprenticeship levy, and we did fund it through the apprenticeship levy.
So my question for you would be: this is just one industry, but presumably, like, the government aren't shouting about this because too many people don't know about it. But presumably these training providers are massively trying to market it, because that's how they get their sales, by getting people like you to go and get the grant to then spend with them.
Yes.
So are they shouting about it? That's my question to you. Are they going...
No, I don't think they are, because I don't ever see this advertised on LinkedIn. I've never once had a LinkedIn DM. I've never once had a letter in the post.
That's crazy, because if they were my business, I know that it's the best sell ever. Spend some money on marketing, you know, get your people trained for free up to this value, but you know the money's all coming from the government. I mean, it's the perfect business model, isn't it?
So when you go onto the .gov.uk website and have a look at the apprenticeship courses, they're listed as level 2 to level 7. Okay. Essentially, level 2 to level 6 is open to anybody. Okay. Level 7, then you must be 19 to 24 to be eligible to do a level 7 course now. But the level that these courses are at, so level 2 and 3 is GCSE and A level. Level 4 and 5 is a first year or foundation degree. And level 6 and 7 is a bachelor's and a master's. Okay. So if you've got somebody 19 to 24, you can essentially fund a master's degree for them.
Crazy.
For free.
Crazy.
Okay. So in terms of funding, if somebody's under 25, you get full funding for their entire course. Okay, so there's no cost to the business at all. If they're over 25, then you only pay 5%.
Of the value of the training.
Of the value.
Wow.
Now, even the level 7 masters, most of like the training companies have now capped their fees at the same cost as what the government will pay, which is up to £21,000.
Right.
So for a level 7 masters, if somebody's going to pay 5% of that, for example, it's like 5% of 21,000. It's not that much money actually in the grand scheme of things. So what would that be, like just over £1,000?
Yes, well worth it for what you get.
Exactly.
It still feels like great value
to have
as a
master's
owner.
degree out the other side of it. No student loan, none of that. So from that perspective, it's brilliant. If you're age 16 to 18, then you actually also get an extra £1,000 bonus fee. for putting 16 to 18-year-olds through an apprenticeship. And if somebody is 19 to 24, then they are the only age range that's eligible for these level 7 master's degrees now, essentially.
So if you've got older kids, rather than them paying and getting themselves debt straddled in university, what they need to do is they need to tap up the right employer who will be prepared to take them on, and they need to go and say to that employer, I'll do you a deal. This is the deal. You've got me in the weeds, but you put me on the masters. And at the end of that, I don't know, do a deal where they say a retainer deal that says at the end of my masters, I'll stay with you for 5 years, minimum 5 years, something.
Well, it's a very entrepreneurial way of looking at it. But yeah, essentially, it's very, very common.
Sell yourself to the employer.
That when you have any sort of study package, because even though as an employer, you're maybe not paying for somebody's study costs here, there's a time to your business. And, I would be coaching and mentoring my team through their qualifications. So when they, yes, they have a tutor, but when they have a technical question about, I'm studying this and I don't understand it, they can come to me as well. So that's draining my time. And, I do have to attend some presentations that they do where they're demonstrating what's been used in the workplace. I do have to speak to their tutor. It's not that onerous. It's probably like no more than a couple of hours a month, absolute maximum, but there's still a cost to the business. And under the apprenticeship levy, then generally, if you're getting the funding, you need 20% of an employee's time to be dedicated to learning and development. That doesn't mean 20% of the time is out the office at a college or university doing studying. It means 20% on learning and development, which includes one-to-ones, includes stretch assignments, includes giving them tasks that, they haven't done before.
Yeah.
But it does just mean you can't have somebody sitting there doing the same job that they've done for the last 5 years and get apprenticeship levy funding.
Okay.
So to give you a flavour of some of the courses that are available that might be appropriate for small businesses, there's some AI courses at the moment. So there's level 4 and level 5, which is essentially first year and foundation degree courses, either available as full sort of 2 to 3 year professional qualifications or as mini modules that can be done in about 30 hours. Okay. And there's 2 that are particularly apt. And one of them is around implementation of AI in the business. These are for people that would actually be using AI on a day-to-day basis. It's how you identify opportunities and then implement AI.
Right.
Okay. In business processes specifically.
Amazing. Yeah.
And then the other one is level 5. And this is aimed at a manager who is maybe in charge of transforming a business with AI. So you're probably not going to be using it yourself on a day-to-day basis, but you're responsible for the strategic rollout of it.
So if you're a business owner, do this now. Identify in your business a number of what you're going to call AI revolutionists, AI ambassadors, whatever you call that. Put them on these trainings so they get the training and they get AI'd and then they drive forward the AI change in your business. It's cost you nothing to upskill those people.
It's going to cost you 5% of the course. So the government will fund it up to £750, which is 95%, and you then pay 5% on top of that.
Complete and utter no-brainer.
No-brainer.
Complete and utter no-brainer.
Other ones, there's a level 3 sales and marketing executive.
Yeah,
brilliant.
Well,
if you've got telesales, somebody's doing your LinkedIn, anything like that,
great use.
Fantastic. Level 5 ops manager,
very, very
operations
useful.
manager. There is just so much on there. There is what I would call traditional professional qualifications like accountancy, welding, electrician, all of those types of things are on there. And then there's these kind of like business administration, business management qualifications as well.
Also, good opportunity if you think you're going to be losing your job from AI. Plumber course, electrician.
Yes.
Get on that now. If you think your job's in danger, get yourself trained as an electrician for free under your business, ready to make your transition. I mean, you're going to say, how do you justify that you're getting an electrician in your accountancy firm? Well, do you know what? Things go wrong, is what I would say. You've got a problem with your air conditioning at the moment, so I'm going on a HVAC course, aren't I?
Yeah, that's true. I cannot get an air conditioning engineer for love nor money.
So, didn't we say, was it last week when I said about the AI chat that when he was trying to book the doctor's appointment, in the end he just went, sod this, I'll be a doctor.
Yeah, that's this.
That's this. It's like, we can't get a HVAC person because we've got nobody that will recruit. So sod it, I'll go on the course and I'll just learn to fix it myself.
What I would say with this is I can actually, we are in times of austerity. I know the government doesn't want to call it that because they're Labour, but the reality is that we are in times of austerity, and this has already been downgraded over recent years. You used to be able to anybody could get a level 7 masters, which would be like a chartered accountancy qualification, for example, or a solicitor or a lawyer. You can't do that anymore. That's not open to anybody. That's only under 24s. I can foresee the rules around this being restricted further in years to come. So I would say it's the type of thing that just take it now. There is absolutely no reason reason why you should not just grab the balls of this while it is absolutely a stunningly good offer from our government that is so hard to come by.
It's interesting you said austerity. Austerity means that we're cutting the amount of spend that we're making as a government, doesn't it? Based on previous years. That is literally the definition of austerity. Now, I showed you something the other day that said that our government spending has gone from, it's gone from 1.1 trillion in 2020 to 1.4 trillion in 2025. So I don't think we're in austerity. I don't know what you'd call it. We're being more selective about where we're spending all of our government money is what we'd say. And things like people getting jobs or doing better at jobs are out, and putting checks on the pockets of people sat at home is in. Yeah?
Yeah, at the moment, yeah. I agree.
So there you go.
So the apprenticeship levy, absolute no-brainer. Go and get it.
Profit Cash Growth Extra.
I feel like after such a big giveaway in the deep dive, do we really need a Profit Cash Growth Extra?
We don't. That is the extra. Yeah. But we're going to mention it because it's our pickleball obsession, isn't it? Now, we're not cool enough to be like paddle people, are we?
Whoa there, Tiger. Don't you dare put me in the same camp as you.
Joking aside, like every other cool podcast, like their Profit Cash Growth, their extras, their things that they're doing is like, we're getting into paddle, we're doing paddle. All you hear is paddle everywhere. Because these people are based in London or Manchester. We're like based in sleepy Leighton Buzzard off Milton Keynes. And it's like, there's no paddle court anywhere near us. So we can't really get into paddle. So we get into pickleball instead, which is basically the old age pensioner sport.
Yeah. But it's fun. It's actually really good. We turn up every day and we get rinsed. Or not every day. Every Sunday we go for a couple of hours and play pickleball.
And we get rinsed by pensioners.
Who've got these super
fancy bats
that do spinny things and stuff.
Yeah. No, anyway, if you haven't tried pickleball, it blew up in COVID in America. It's come over here in quite a big way. It's probably sort of taken over kind of. Is it like a cross between tennis, badminton, and table tennis?
There's a film
which is a bizarre
on
crossing. Yes.
Apple TV.
Yes.
Called Dink.
The Dink.
Go and watch that.
No, it's on Netflix.
Worth
watching because that's about pickleball.
It basically sums it up. Yeah, it's a shit version of tennis for old people.
Well, the point is like tennis is quite skillful and it's really hard to get into. Pickleball, anyone can pick up a bat and play it. Basically, is probably the thing. Probably not a lot of people can get amazing at it because there's quite like as we've seen the people in the club we've got, when they're skillful, they really know how to play this game. But like. And they will run rings around us. So becoming good at it is dead easy. Becoming great at it is really hard. So good sport. Pickleball. Try it out. Thanks for joining us for another week's podcast. As always, if you feel like you might have outgrown your accountant or just don't trust the numbers anymore, get in touch with Claire and the team at Profit Cash Growth. It's profitcashgrowth.com. On there, you can book a discovery call or do the finance fitness scorecard, first of all, to see where your finances currently stand in your business as a starter for 10. Can I ask a favour? Can I ask, if you listen to this week in, week out, and you're on Apple or Spotify, could you just give us if you like it, I assume, I'm not forcibly putting a gun against your head, but would you just give us a 5-star review, even if you don't leave any words? If you're feeling really, really, really kind this week, leave a few words and just tell people what you get from the podcast every week. It helps other people find us as well. And as always, we will see you again next week.